dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke, and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom. My dear students, in the last session, we have discussed about the humidity in the topic humidity and clouds. In that we have learned evaporation, humidity in the air, and in the types of humidity, absolute humidity, relative humidity, and the concept of condensation, densification, and sublimation. Now today we are continuing with the second part of the same topic, that is humidity and clouds. And in today's topic we are going to discuss about clouds and types of clouds. So the first thing which is very important to understand about clouds, that clouds are a form of condensation at higher elevation. Clouds are a form of condensation at higher elevation. Now about condensation we already discussed in the first part. The process of changing of water vapor in the air into water is called condensation. So clouds are a form of condensation at higher elevation. Condensation occurs around minute particles in the atmosphere, and condensed water or snow particles in the clouds are very fine and almost weightless. उनका कोई वजन नहीं होता है, near about, and so clouds float in the air. जब भी हम आसमान में देखते हैं तो बहुत बार हमें ऐसे लगता है कि क्लाउड्स क्या हो रहे हैं, मूव हो रहे हैं, एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जा रहे हैं. Why this happens? Because condensed water or snow particles in the clouds are very fine and almost weightless, and that's why clouds float in the air. Here now in the figure 3.7 you can see that is what is raindrop, and this one fine particle, then this one condensed water particle in the cloud. So the maximum diameter of a raindrop is 5 millimeter. In this, now the next thing, land and water get heated because of the heat of the sun. Land and water get heated because of the heat of the sun. Air near the surface heats up, rises and becomes less dense. As it goes higher, जैसे ये हवा ऊपर 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 जाती है, as it goes higher, the temperature of the air reduces. जो कि लैंड और वाटर की वजह से टेम्परेचर बढ़ जाता है, क्योंकि सूरज की रोशनी से, सूरज की हीट से लैंड एंड वाटर की हीट बढ़ जाती है, उसकी वजह से वहाँ पर जो एयर है उसका टेम्परेचर या हीट बढ़ जाती है. लेकिन जैसे जैसे ये हवा ऊपर जाती है, इट्स टेम्परेचर reduces and the moisture holding capacity of the air reduces. Relative humidity keeps increasing. The water vapor in the atmosphere turns into water and snow, and this is the dew point level of that air. The level of condensation is determined by the water vapor in the air. So what we have to keep in mind here, that the freezing point is also dependent on the altitude and water vapor. जो freezing point की हम बात करते हैं वो भी altitude, height पे depend करता है और water vapor पे depend करता है. Now because of condensation, fine particles of ice and water float in the air at a greater height. Now here you can see this, land heats up because of this and warm air rises, but as it rises rising air helps to form clouds, and then cooler air sinks and sinking air spreads along surface. So, because of condensation, fine particles of ice and water float in the air at a greater height. They accumulate around dust particles in the air and become larger in size. Try to understand this. आइस और वाटर के फाइन पार्टिकल्स जो है वो हवा में फ्लोट करते हैं और जब वो डस्ट पार्टिकल के साथ मिल जाते हैं तो उनकी साइज बढ़ जाती है. दे एक्यूमुलेट टुगेदर एंड इज कॉल्ड अ क्लाउड. Sun heats up water and land surface and cold air meets water vapor, condensation occurs. Next thing, here you can see land, ocean. Evaporation, then moisture, then condensation, and then the formation of clouds and rain. This is the cycle. Here you can see how clouds float in the air. Because of vertical flow of the wind, they float in the atmosphere like a kite which floats in the air. As it moves higher and higher, the clouds too float in the atmosphere because of vertical flow, as you can see on the screen. Clouds are found at different altitudes above mean sea level, and here you can see on the screen cloud types. Clouds which form at greater altitudes are formed from very fine snow particles, and the process of evaporation and condensation occurs consequently in the clouds. So, specific type of clouds cause rainfall on earth. सभी clouds की वजह से rainfall नहीं होता है. Specific type of clouds cause rainfall. So, the proportion of vapor is more near the earth's surface. As we go higher away from the sea level, the amount of vapor decreases, and hence the clouds at a lower altitude are larger in size while the clouds at higher altitude are smaller. Here you can see. Here you can see the types and the size. Now here in the chart, cloud types according to international classification is given. Clouds are formed at different altitudes in the atmosphere, and after observation we can divide these clouds into three main types on the basis of their altitude. The height from the base of the cloud is taken into consideration. These three types you can see 1, 2 and 3. If the clouds are at an altitude of 7,000 to 14,000 meter, then they are considered as very high clouds here. And if they are at an altitude of around 2,000 to 7,000 meter, then they are considered to be medium clouds. Here, this one. And if they are at altitude of less than 2,000 meter, then they are low clouds. Now in detail, one by one we'll study this. Here again with the figure 3.8 you can easily understand this one. Low altitude, that is less than 2,000 meter. Medium altitude, that is around 2,000 to 7,000 meter, and high altitude, that is 7,000 to 14,000 14,000 meter. Low altitude, medium altitude, high altitude, that is high clouds, medium clouds and low clouds. Now the first thing, high clouds. These clouds are mainly made up of ice particles. जिनके हाइट 7,000 to 14,000 मीटर है, वहाँ पर जो क्लाउड्स बनते हैं वो मोस्टली आइस पार्टिकल्स के बने हुए होते हैं. दे कैन बी क्लासिफाइड इनटू cirrus, cirrocumulus and cirrostratus. In the first type, that is high clouds, there are three: cirrus, cirrocumulus and cirrostratus. Next thing, the first one, cirrus clouds are mainly wispy, like this in the figure you can see. Next one, and the cirrocumulus clouds look like group of small waves. Here you can see it looks like group of small waves. And if we talk about cirrostratus, are like a bed sheet with wrinkles. They generally have a halo around them, so it looks like bed sheet with wrinkles. Now the next one in this, medium clouds. These include altocumulus and altostratus. Altocumulus are in the form of layers and have a wave-like structure. They are mostly white in color and have gray shade. Actually, it's very interesting to observe the shapes of clouds. अगर आप खुले आसमान में कभी clouds को देखते रहोगे तो बहुत सारे shapes हमें अलग अलग उसमें दिखते हैं, मिलते हैं, which is very interesting. Then the altostratus are not very thick. The sun can be seen through them as if seen through a milky glass, like this in the figure you can see. Next one, low clouds. These consist of 5 types of clouds. Stratocumulus have layers in this: stratocumulus, stratus, nimbostratus, cumulus and cumulonimbus. So altocumulus, as you can see on the screen, and altostratus, their color is white to earthy. Round clusters of clouds can be here. Stratus clouds also have layers. They are ash colored and their base is uniform. Nimbostratus has thick layers. They are gray ash in color and cause continuous rainfall and even snowfall. So stratocumulus have layers. Round clusters of clouds can be here. Stratus clouds also have layers and they are ash colored and their base is uniform. Then the nimbostratus, thick layers, gray ash in color and cause continuous rainfall and even snowfall. Cumulus clouds. These clouds are formed extensively from 500 meter to 6,000 meter altitude, and about this, the vertical flow of the air adds to the formation of these clouds. These are huge, as you can see here on the screen. These are huge and dome shaped. They are gray in color. Cumulus clouds are an indicator of pleasant weather. The vertical expanse of these clouds increases so much that they turn into cumulonimbus clouds and bring rain. Next one, cumulonimbus. These are characteristic clouds which are indicators of thunderstorm, which are big and fluffy. They are in part of the stratosphere and troposphere. These looks like huge mountains. These are dense and dark in color. There is thunder accompanied by lightning. So, if there is lightning or thunder, then there is cumulonimbus cloud. They bring rain with storm and may sometimes bring hailstones, but such a type of rain does not last long. बहुत देर तक वो बारिश नहीं चलती, which is because of cumulonimbus clouds. Here you can see the figure 3.9 cumulonimbus clouds. The largest of these clouds bring rainfall accompanied with lightning. The top portion of these clouds has an anvil-like shape. The clouds have a positive charge at the upper end. Here you can see positive charge at the upper end and negative charge at the lower end. And because of this, due to difference in the charges, positive and negative, electric charges are formed and lightning occurs. Lightning up there sky for a moment. जो हमें दिखता है कि थंडर भी होती है और लाइटनिंग भी होती है, which is because of the positive negative charges. The air around the lightning rises up because of the heat, and this leads to large thundering sound. So, as compared to other clouds, the raindrops of these clouds are larger because they move up and down a lot of times and accumulate more and more water. So, drops become larger and larger and are unable to float. Unable to float in the clouds because of their weight. So, they fall in the form of rain. Sometimes the air in the clouds is very cold, and because of this, these drops freeze and fall in the form of hail, and we call them hailstones. So, in this topic, and especially in today's second part, we discussed about the clouds and types of clouds, and in the first part we discussed about the humidity, that is evaporation, humidity in the air, absolute humidity, relative humidity, condensation, densification and sublimation.
Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications.
So my dear ones, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.